Stop the hip hop heads to be in Portia's DM. Stop
Oh,
that.
stop it.
Exactly.
Hip hop heads to be in
Exactly.
Portia's
Portia got
DM.
groupies. We got to come
You
up with a
guys think
name.
Hold on.
You got the Russian bots. The Russian bots, okay? They know me. They know what to say.
We're live, so we'll save that till afterwards. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. What's good? Hold on. Y'all good? You good, boys?
Nah, give her a minute. Let her get it out.
Let her compose.
Oh my god. Okay, go. This group is hilarious. Okay.
All right, let's rock. What's good? You two in Apartment 5B, hosted by your man Kill. We back in effect. It's been a minute. As always, ladies first. Porsche, what's going on with you, miss?
Not a whole lot. Kill, how are you?
Everything's good. DJ Rack One. Been a minute, good brother.
What's going on, y'all? Appreciate it.
Everything good. Vern, after ATL, what's good, bro?
I'm ecstatic. Apartment 5B just saved me $500.
Hey, man. Hey, we aim to please. And Ed, out the West Coast, what's going on, good brother?
I'm good, blessed, and highly favored.
Yes.
There you go. Y'all know me. Let's jump right into it. We just went through a decade of hip hop, but unlike everybody else who's doing it, we're gonna do our favorite albums of the decade. But what I'm more interested in is the slept on albums of the past 10 years. So we're gonna be talking about our slept on albums. You know, the dopest MC. If you got anything else that slept on, dopest producer of the last 10 years, some of the dopest moments. But most importantly to me is those slept on albums, because I'm all ears, because I know it's been so much music. It's got to be a rack of stuff that we all didn't hear. While I love this show, we got 5 totally different ears to the street. So I'm sure everybody's going to be naming some things that some of us haven't heard of. So, yo, Porsche, why don't you set us off? Give me all 5. What are your slept on albums from 2010 to 2019?
Okay, I got 13 by Havoc. Havoc's 13. I posted that on the TL. We got some conversations going. That album is incredible. So 13, Havoc, Give Me My Flowers While I Can Still Smell Them, Blue in Exile. I'm a fan of Blue. You guys know that. That album was amazing. Some Love Lost by Joe Budden. I think Joe gets kind of, I don't know. He just kind of flies under the radar. No one really talks much about his albums, but he's a powerhouse MC, and some of the stuff that he says, like that album is unreal. Definitely slept on for me. And Kel Chris Guns. And I like Diamond D's Diane piece. So those are mine.
The first joint or the second one?
The first joint.
The first joint.
Yeah.
All right. And what was the one you said before that? Kel's Keys?
Kel Chris.
Kel Chris.
Yeah.
What's that? Who's that?
He's Jean Grey's husband.
Jean Grey's husband.
Oh.
They married recently, actually. And they have a collab album together. So amazing. Again. Right. So yeah.
All right. No doubt. That's why I want to do this show. I've never heard of it's Kel Chris.
Kel Chris, yeah.
Kel Chris. All right. Rack, what you got up for us today, good brother?
All right, man. So slept on joints. I'm going with Isaiah Rashad's Sylvia demo. He's out of TDE camp. Elza, Lead Poison. I don't think people talk about that album as much as they should. Enjoying it seriously slept on. The Diamond District, March on Washington, came out 2014. Dope album. Odyssey did the production on it. 2 dope MCs out of the DMV. Should check it out. Bilal, Airtight Revenge. Nobody talks about this album. It's like it never happened. I don't hear nobody talk about this joint with Bilal, man. And I'm going with Covert Coup, man. I think me and you the only heads that talk about this album.
Bruh.
Currency joint. I think me and you the only cats talk about that joint. Bruh. It's like nobody knows that Currency did one of the bangingest albums. Yeah. Honestly, for me, that album put me on the Currency's resurgence, not the mixtapes. I didn't know about Currency in the mixtape game like that. When I saw that, I was like, oh, okay. And when I popped it open, it was like, okay, I don't have to hear anything else. If he drops something, I'm listening. But those are my slept on joints.
Yeah, Currency, the Covert Coup, man. Definitely, I'll be mentioning that. 5 mics to me, put me on to Freddie Gibbs. That's the first time I heard Freddie. You know what I mean? Just Alchemist and Currency, just dope duo. Ed, what you got for yours, man?
All right, I got Joey Badass, Before the Money. I got Black and Brown. That's that Danny Brown and Black Milk album.
Yeah.
Random Acts, which is Black Milk, Sean Price, and Guilty Simpson.
That joint's crazy.
I got The Good Fight by Odyssey, and I got E&J by Dag Savage, which is Exile and Joe Haas.
Okay.
And Exile is the producer that works with Blue. So, yeah.
All right, no doubt. Vern, what you got?
I don't follow rules or anything like that, so I don't really have any hip hop, and I don't know.
It's all good, bro. But see, here's the thing. And my bad, I should have said that in the beginning of the show. This don't have to be all hip hop, man. This is about any and all. I got a whole list of R&B joints I'm about to dig into, so it ain't just about hip hop.
All right, so some of these are slept on, some of them are my favorite, or most of them are both. So I'm gonna just throw out one that nobody. It's an album called Sunstorm by Zoe. Zoe is a keyboardist. Also the music director for Foreign Exchange. Banger, chock full of joints on there. Let me go with Brandon Williams, Roman numeral 12. That album is ridiculous. It's got Pharaoh Monch on one, chick named Anisha on one, the new version of Bobby Caldwell, Blue Eye Soul, Matt Cousin, Alex Isley, Moonchild on that mug, Gene Baylor from Zane, and chick named Chocolate, independent, dope as a mug. All right, I'm gonna throw out a gospel joint on here. This thing has pulled me out the mud a couple of times. It's United Tenors. It's Fred Hammond, Eric Roberson, Dave Hollister, and Brian Courtney Wilson. That lineup is ridiculous. I sent Kill a joint that has helped me out a lot over the weekend, man. So check that one out. That is 3.
Oh, hold tight. Number one, salute for sending me that, because I needed that.
Yeah.
But what's the name of it again?
The name of the group is United Tenors, and it's Fred Hammond.
Tenors, you said?
All
right.
Fred Hammond, Eric Roberson, Dave Hollister from Blackstreet, Dave Hollister, and Brian Courtney Wilson. He killing the gospel game. That album is dope.
Wow.
So that's 3. I'm gonna name these 2 in conjunction. If you love To Pimp a Butterfly, you got to deep dive into Terrace Martin's joints. Velvet Portrait is one, and 3 Chord Fold is another one. You talking about Thundercat, Snoop, Glasper, Kendrick, and this cat named Preston Harris is dope. And then the last one, I'm gonna say Kamasi Washington, Heaven and Earth. Again, if you like To Pimp a Butterfly and the musicality of that, Terrace Martin and Kamasi Washington are huge reasons why that album was so dope.
All right, we'll check that out.
No doubt. I got 1 million. I ain't gonna hold you. I couldn't even. I tried to make 5, but
it's hard. That's hard.
I'm gonna start with the ones I really love. I'm gonna go with Morning in America and Dreaming in Color, Brother Ali, and Jake One's album. Just an incredible album. That's crazy. I'm gonna go with Untitled Unmastered, Kendrick Lamar's joint. Basically, his lost tapes. For all the Nas people out there, would be more of a lost tapes of joints that never really came out. I got The Silent Partner, Havoc and Alchemist. You know what I'm saying? Havoc from Mob or Alchemist beats. I got my man Yao G's about to jump in here. Yao, what's good, baby?
What's going on? How y'all doing?
What's up, baby?
Happy New Year, y'all. Been a while.
Yeah, man.
Yes, sir.
Yo. World traveler.
Yeah, y'all been busy in Africa. Y'all in Africa. So,
yes.
Talk about a slept-on joint. His right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. In 1 sec, we're gonna come to you with your slept-on albums of the year.
Got
you know what I mean? I'm just running down a decade. You know what I meant. I got Classic by Rod Digger. A lot of people don't even know Rod Digger had a joint out, produced entirely by Knots. Yeah. So you should already know right there that that's stupid.
Yeah.
I got Sir Lucius, Big Boy. Everybody act like Big Boy ain't nothing without Dre.
Right.
3,000 as much as I love him.
That's on my favorite list. That's on my favorite of the decade list, for sure.
Yeah. Mossberg, Rock Marciano, you know what I mean? The Stimulus Package, Jake One's Name Again, and Freeway, very dope album.
Yes, sir.
24-Hour Karate School. I'm shocked at how many people
that made your list?
have never heard. Hell yeah, man, dog. We talking Prowler 2 is one of the illest posse cuts of the past 10 years.
I said you, bro.
What is it? Jean Grey, Mos Def, Joel Ortiz, Jay Electronica, like that lineup. I mean, you got Mos on this album, very slept on album. Mood Music 4 by Joe Budden. I got War by Foul March. Reloaded by Rock Mars. Barrel Brothers, Sky Zoo and Torre, very slept on album. And if y'all like Sky, man, bar wise, these dudes kill it. Directors of photography, Dilated Peoples. Return of the Cool, Nick Grant. Yao actually put me on the Nick. That's definitely one of my slept on joints. Yo, to me, this really is gonna be on my top album of the decade, but nobody talks about, so still slept on. Sci-Hi's No Dope on Sunday.
Yeah.
You're talking everything. This dude, if you haven't heard it, please stop what you're doing. Listen to Sci-Hi's No Dope on Sunday. Friday on Elm Street. Jadakiss and
Fabulous.
Fat. A lot of people didn't like it. I think based off of their expectations, I had zero expectations for this. So I actually liked it. And on top of that, I really thought Kiss, I thought Fab brought it. Like, I was like, yo, Fab is dope, but Kiss is doper. Mm-hmm. I felt like Fab knew people was thinking that and came with his A game and killed it. Which Way is West by MC8. Very slept on album. Very dope album. The Sun's Tirade by Isaiah Rashad. Another dope album that Mousse put me on to. And Fashionably Late for Sean and Alchemist. Very dope EP. Yes, yeah. What's some of your slept on joints, good brother?
Yeah, I mentioned a couple of them actually. I got Sir Lucius Left Foot, which I mean, it's one of the best albums I replayed it this year a couple of times, and I was like, this joint still slaps. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Sir Lucius Left Foot, Fonte, No News is Good News.
Yep.
Very good album from him, and a lot of times you associate albums that when they come out at around certain times for you, or like times in your life. I was getting married, and it just really, the albums really spoke to me with a lot of the the city he was talking about, just the grown things he was talking about. Fonte's always been one of my inspirations anyway. So the Prime One, that's Royce's joint. I thought it was a little underrated. People still didn't really grasp to it like I thought they should have. Game, documentary part 2.
Yeah. Very slept on.
Very slept on. I think it's Game's second best album, other than the first documentary. I think that joint was legit. Okay. Redemption by J-Rock was a really good album. Came out last year, I believe. I thought it was one of the best albums that came out last year. That's one. Jericho Jackson, that's Elzai, and Cuz from
Crisis.
Yeah, Crisis for Justice League, which was a really good album. You mentioned No Dope on Sundays, which I feel was a complete album from top to bottom. When we're talking about lyrics, we're talking about concepts. He literally gave you the full package on that album. I was really proud of Sci-Hi because I've been championing Sci-Hi for a long time. Malibu by Anderson .Paak. I know it's not great per se, but I kind of feel like people forgot about it after it came out. I love Malibu. Kill put me onto that one too. That was album was way too dope for me. I mean, if you want to consider it, it's a hybrid between hip hop and R&B.
Well, here's the thing, B. If you got any R&B, because I got R&B too. You know, it's all genres. Whatever you throw in.
All right, okay. Retropolitan, Sky Zoo joint came out this past year. Was a fire album. I've always liked Sky Zoo. He had an album that came out a couple years ago. I can't think of the name of it right now. It was a bicycle. I can't think of the name of the album right now.
Peddler's Themes.
That was another one that really shocked. I think Retropolitan is a better album, just production. And I think Sky Zoo's always in his bag, but I feel like he was really in pocket on this album. And what else is there? And then Return of the Cool, like you mentioned, Nick Grant was one of my favorite underrated joints from the decade. So that's my little list. I'm sure there's more, but that's my little list that I came up with for underrated.
Yeah, tell me this real quick because we haven't had a chance to speak since Retropolitan came out. You said Sky was in his bag. It's probably my favorite Sky project to date. What would you say? What do you think spoke to you as an MC as far as Sky's lyrics on Retropolitan?
Very nostalgic, man. Like the joint Penny Jerseys. I like songs with no real hook when people are just going, you know what I mean? Penny Jerseys just kind of put me in a place as far as and I think me and Sky are similar in age. I think we're 2-3 years apart in age. So it just put me in a place when I was in high school or when I was in middle school, and everybody he said my whole block was in Penny Jerseys, and that was an actual thing. It was you had to have the pennies, blue and black, either the first ones or the second ones. You had to have the black Orlando jersey with the stripes, and he was just mentioning all the type of shit that was going on around that time. He really got in his bag. Storytelling, like I said, lyrically, he's always going to be there. But that particular song was a standout for me. Penny Jerseys.
Yeah. Matter of fact, that's my favorite joint off of Retropolitan, which is crazy because most people don't name it. But the same, and here's the thing: I'm not even in Sky's age group, but I understood when he was like, my block hit a pause. Like Scholar, them shits is hard. Like I remember coming out on the block even in another type of jersey and another type of sneaker. So it wasn't even an era thing for me, but just everything he talked about. And the funny thing was, me and Nate was watching Paid in Full this weekend. And when she heard the whole part about, in 10 days, she's like, Daddy, that's Sky Zoo's joint. You know what I mean? And then she saw the Willie Burgers, she was like, oh shit, like that's what Sky Zoo talking about. So I just love, the whole connectivity of it. Incredible album. Vern, I know you threw some joints in. Do y'all have any other slept on joints from any other genres? Yeah. Vern, you do? All right.
Actually, let me see. Charity Starts at Home.
Okay.
Fonte. Yeah, that album is ridiculous. That's it. that's my one hip hop.
I was ready to go all the way there. Ed, you got anybody else got any other genres before I go into this list of R&B joints?
I just mixed them all up.
All right.
But I had a hip hop one that I want to throw in the end. The 7, that Talib Kweli and Styles P album is a
very good album.
Yeah,
that joint was dope.
All right, no doubt. On the R&B tip, some of my favorite albums this year, and I take the help for it.
This decade.
Damn, I'm bugging. Thank y'all. This is decade. This has been a bad week for me, y'all. So forgive me. My mind is everywhere. People always laugh at me for this. Lemonade, Beyonce's joint. Incredible album. 5 mics to me. Production wise, it was crazy. Pen game was crazy. Wreck You Laughing is a great fucking album.
I'm laughing because that was the album that we used to work out to down range. So
okay,
it has a special place in my heart.
You said you used to work out to that album?
Look, man, when you in certain places in this world,
I understand.
In my line of work,
I understand.
Sometimes you just throw music on, dog, and that became the theme.
I understand.
3 o'clock in the morning workouts.
I ain't gonna hold y'all, man. I think Beyonce gets a lot of unnecessary hate. I don't know what it is. I know people who've never heard a Beyonce album who's like, yo, she's whack. I'm like, yo, you never even heard an album. Like, how can you even call somebody whack? I'm like, yo, Just Blaze is on this album. They're like, word? I'm like, nigga, listen, like, yo, yeah, Just Blaze is on this album. Sold Out, Jhené Aiko. A lot of people front on her. And again, when I talk about R&B nowadays, I'm not talking about no soul singers. I'm not talking about no Anthony Hamiltons. I'm not talking about folk who was raised in the gospel choir. These motherfuckers ain't even go to church. So ain't none of these people was on the choir. So don't when people like, oh, kill that ain't R. It's R&B. Tiana Taylor's album 7 was very dope. Yes, Lord by Anderson .Paak and Knowledge. Yeah, I don't know if you heard that joint, but if you love Malibu.
Love that joint.
I was gonna say if you rock with Malibu, you will love this. Awaken My Love, Childish Gambino's album. I love that joint. 5 mics. Know It All by this shorty Alessia Cara. She had a joint out that was called Here. That was a banger. Pop and Wenzel did it. These 2 cats out of Philly. Very dope album. In My Mind, BJ the Chicago Kid. The Heart Speaks and Whispers. Correne Bailey Ray. Never been a fan of shorty like that, but that album was very dope.
You said Pop and Wenzel produced that last joint?
Yeah, Pop and Wenzel.
That's one of my college teammates, man. That's his little brother. That's Dexter Wenzel's son.
Yeah, exactly. Produced like 3 joints off the Alessia Cara joint. BJ, the Chicago Kid in My Mind. The D'Angelo joint, Black Messiah. September 5th by Division. Elle Varner dropped a new album this year. EP, Elevation is very dope. Reality Show by Jasmine Sullivan. Jill Scott's joint, Woman. Nobody ever talked about. I don't know what it is with R&B, y'all. I don't know what when we talk about how hip hop has like the shelf life of like 8 seconds, I think R&B may have a shelf life of like negative 8 seconds. Like Jill Scott will drop an album and then literally like a day later, nobody's talking about it. Jasmine Sullivan, Fantasia had a dope album. Side Effects of You was very dope. Jonte Austin's Cat Out of Atlanta. Love, Sex, and Religion. Very dope album. Kelly Price had a joint called Kelly. Very dope. Leon Bridges, Coming Home. Very dope album. Strength of a Woman, Mary's joint. This was the first Mary album I've liked in the 2000s over the past 17 years. Gumbo by PJ Morton. The first album, this is the only time I heard an album for the first time and wrote a review the same day. Like, listened to the album one time and was like, yo, this is incredible. Stone Roller and Raphael Sadiq. People don't even know Sleepy Brown had an EP out called ATL, A-Town Legend. Very, very slept on joint. Let's do this. Who was y'all producer of the decade? I think I got this right, bro. Producer of the decade. Portia's laughing. I already think I know where you're gonna go, but I don't know. All the time
we all know.
So, Portia, where are you going with your producer of the decade?
It's Pete Rock.
Okay.
I mean, I called it in like, I think it was like February. I was like, Pete Rock is carrying 2019. Like, he's carrying. And then when you look at, he carried the year. And then when you look at everything he's done in the last decade, he has put in work. Like, Pete Rock deserves it. I know everyone's going to be like, Portia's biased. Yes. Okay, fine. But at the same time, the work kind of merits the accolades, I think, personally. Like, go look at what Pete Rock has done from 2010 till now, and it's unbelievable how much stuff he's been a part of, what he's remixed, what he's produced, what he's collaborated with. Like, the guy's a powerhouse. He's phenomenal. Pete Rock, always Pete Rock. Yeah.
Pete Rock. All right. I got a producer. I got one. I'm gonna try to cut that one. I'm gonna try to cut that. We was playing spades. I'm gonna try to cut that you just threw out. I love Pete to death. But to me, the producer of the year for me got to be, of the decade, God, I'm going to say decade one of these times. Of the decade has to be Alchemist. Has to be Alchemist.
Yes, sir.
We're talking about Covert Coup in 2011 with Currency, Rare Chandeliers with Action Bronson, that I've never heard because I can't get through it because I always end up listening to Ghost. But I know a lot of people champion it. I know a lot of people champion this album, Rare Chandeliers. 360 Wave, Do-Rag Dynasty, Albert Einstein with Prodigy, Masterpiece Theater with Willie the Kid, First Chemistry Set with Boldy James, Gutter Water with Gangrene. People don't even listen to Gangrene. Y'all don't know how to know. Gangrene is Madlib's little brother in Alchemist group.
Yeah.
You got Vodka, and I can't even pronounce this because I don't drink. I don't know. There's Vodka and something. That's Gangrene.
Yep.
Lord Steppington in 2014 with Evidence, which was crazy. Fashionably Late with Fast Sean from 14, Charleston Heights from 2016 with Currency, Silent Partner with Havoc, Fetty from 2017 with Currency and Freddie Gibbs, Lambs Over Rice 2019 with Action Bronson, and Boldface EP, Boldy James. Not to mention the instrumental stuff he came out, the EPs, he had Lunch Meat, he had Bread, he had Yacht Rock 1 and 2, and not even to mention the shit he gave Griselda. Not even mentioning the Trump off of Goat, 97 Hove off of Benny, Rubber Bands and Weight off of Benny, Took the Money to the Plug's House off of Benny, Elizabeth off of West Side Gun, Brossface, Brippler, whatever off of West Side Gun. I got to give it to Alchemist, and my runner-up would have to be Derringer. Somebody told me the other day, you mean that nigga who just bit Rock Marciano style? And I want to say, you mean Rock Marciano, the nigga who bit Alchemist style, who bit RZA style? I mean, nigga, we all loop stuff. I mean, it just is what it is. You know, RZA was looping stuff, 20 years ago. So, yes, Derringer. Derringer has come together with the Griselda sound. And whether you love Griselda or not, you gotta admit that these dudes kind of ran the last 5 years. You know what I mean?
No question.
I gotta give it to Derringer. People always saying, "Oh, he don't have drums." Hey, who the hell cares? Like, at the end of the day, I'm a is it dope person. If it don't got drums, if it has drums, I just care about the end of the day. So Alchemist is my number one with Derringer on the running up. And I gotta send a shout out to Jake One, because cats really don't realize how much stuff he's had his hands in. He's done a lot of huge projects and produced for a whole wide range of people. So that would be it. Rack, who's your producer of the decade?
So it's funny, man. I really actually didn't have one for really one reason, man. The decade has kind of did a little bit of everything. And then, like you said, everybody is kind of doing the same thing that everybody else is doing. So I kind of chose not to pick one because I don't feel like there's one person doing one thing over everyone else to give me a chance to make a choice. So I didn't pick one.
All right. No doubt. Vern, who you got?
I'm going to bow down to y'all on this.
All right. No doubt. Eddie, who you got?
All right. I am with you, Kill. I got Alchemist. For all the reasons you said. I mean, and you know, even the albums that he didn't produce all himself, he got plenty of other albums that he was very influential on. You know, the Evidence joints, everyone else. I mean, yeah, he was all over the place over the decade. Pete Rock was definitely definitely in my top 5, if not my top 3. Madlib, I probably put my number 2, and then I gotta give some love to Black Milk because he's been putting in the work as well.
All right, no doubt. Yeah, who you got?
Honestly, like Rex said, this the producer game, and not only that, also for me, honestly, it might be my fault because of just how the game has gone with how like you know, we don't get album credits anymore, we don't get booklets anymore. So I have been out of like reading booklets and knowing who produced what because I'm not only that, but I'm also a rapper, so I just want to hear the raps. But what I will say is, Alchemist definitely deserves some credit. Pete, no question. Bink has some of my favorite songs from the decade, so I'll put Bink in there as well. And I probably roll with those 3 as far as my 3 for producers. Like I said, there's so many producers, and I got to give Derringer his credit as well because honestly, I just got into Griselda Pride like the last 2 years, and you can say what you want about the drums. He's cultivated his own sound, and you know a Derringer beat when it comes on. So, and like I said, with all the projects he's been involved with, just based on Conway, Benny, West, like he deserves the nod because of how they've come up out of like the woodwork over the last 3 years. He's got a big deal to do with that. So I would go Derringer, Pete, Bink, Alchemist. I'll pick those 4.
All right, tell me this, y'all, because I'm slow sometimes. Remind me, what has Pete, and there's no shot at Pete. People know I love Pete. Top 3, 5 producer for me. But what was his discography over the decade? Over from 2010 to 19.
Statute of Limitations with Smoke DZA and Benny. He did joints on Supreme Clientele for West Side Gun. He did the Sky Zoo joint Retropolitan. He
did Smoke's out Don't Smoke Crack as well.
Don't Smoke Rock.
He did. He produced for Kanye and Jay. He produced for Ghostface. He produced for 38 Special. The guy is always working.
He did my mixtape.
Yeah, he did an album with Smith and Wesson too.
Yeah, he did like off Lost Tapes 2 that came out. Like the guy's putting
the Kill, he sent me some tracks to mess over too, man. I gotta mix it.
Here's the thing. I feel like it's easy to say, yeah, but Pete Rock and blah, 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 just because he's a great, he's been a great, he's always a great, that I get. We try not to just automatically think of his name to rank just because, you know, you either want to give other people a chance or other people have done just as much or whatever. But Pete, I have to give credit where credit is due. Pete Rock has put out some very, very notable albums and tracks this last decade. It's unreal. And I mean, that's just where I'm at. I know this to Alchemist and Derringer. I love them, but Pete Rock is it for me.
No, and I feel you. And this kind of comes back to how we all have our different things. Like for me, I'm more of a project-based person. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, with Alchemist, I just named like 15 albums he did. You know what I mean? With, like you said, with Pete, he's here on 2, he's here on 3, he's here on 2. So I get it. It's just, you know, how we look at things. But I just didn't know if I was forgetting anything off of that. Tell me this. We'll start with Yao and go backwards. Dopest MC of the decade, Yao. I'm always intrigued as to who you see by you being an MC, who you see. So who's the dopest MC?
It's tough, man. Honestly, so I'll go with 2. At least my 2 favorite from the decade. I'm gonna go Pusha.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go Kendrick for this.
Okay.
Pusha albums, Wrath of Cain, the Prelude joint he put out. He was just, and not to say Pusha hasn't always been consistent, but he was rapping at a very high level for me this decade. I didn't think, and I was like, we always say this, like, I'm not sure how many times and how many ways you can rap about cocaine, but he finds a way to do it every time. So I'll go Pusha, and I'll go Kendrick strictly based on like just because he's a rapper's rapper, he raps and he delivered to me he delivered a classic album. I know people want to consider it to Pimp a Butterfly classic. Some people call it the album of the decade. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I feel like Good Kid, Mad City is a better album, but I would get Kendrick the album. I feel like Kendrick kind of set the bar in the decade when Good Kid came out. It was like, okay, you got to rap. So that spawned off in a lot of West Coast cats. Reason started rapping. Boogie was rapping. Like those guys came up out of the West Coast because of Kendrick to me. So I will go Kendrick and Pusha. Those are my two favorites in the decade.
All right, no doubt, no doubt. What was your favorite Kendrick or Pusha project then?
My favorite Pusha project is Daytona's my favorite Pusha project, and then Good Kid, Mad City. Nobody can say a bad thing to me about Good Kid, Mad City ever in life. Like there's nothing you can say bad to me. It's told a story from top to bottom, interludes. It was cohesive musically, lyrically, stories. I love that album. I absolutely adore that album, Good Kid, Mad City.
All right, no doubt. Eddie, who you got, man?
I got. I'll do the same. I'll do two because it's really hard to pick between them. I got them neck and neck, so I got Royce da 5'9" and Sky Zoo as my top two. And as far as projects, their best projects for me, I'll say Royce with Book of Ryan and Sky Zoo with that Retropolitan. But the thing about both of them, like what they have done, I think Royce, I'll probably say since he dropped Prime, that first Prime with DJ Premier, he's been on an incredible run. And Sky Zoo is one of them MCs that he just dropping consistently good projects. And when you look at it from an entirety over the decades, Sky Zoo, he hasn't dropped a whack project, but then the last three from Music for My Friends, what was the one he dropped?
Celebration of Us.
Yeah, in Celebration of Us, and then the Retropolitan. Like those three, like I feel like were his best ones. So he just got consistently better.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I definitely feel you on that. I may have more to say about Royce when we get to mine, but definitely a dope choice. Vern, what about you? And not just rappers, if singers.
I'm gonna just do rappers on this one.
All right.
Phonte Lashad Coleman, of course, y'all know that about me. That's my favorite MC. Favorite project of his, I would say No News Is Good News, and I don't know if you could throw May the Lord Watch, even though that's a little brother project. I still bump him. And then I'm gonna say Kendrick Lamar with To Pimp a Butterfly. Y'all know this about me too. I love hip hop, but I don't listen to it as much as I listen to soul stuff. So those two resonate with me. And with Phonte, I really haven't heard him come whack ever on nothing, So, so those are my two hip hop MC. Well, MCs, hip hop MC. I sound like an old man. Yeah, hippity hop, rappity rap.
No doubt, good brother. Rack, what you got for your MC of the decade?
Vern is crazy, man. So MC of the decade. I'm gonna kind of break it down a little bit. So Kendrick, I agree with I think he started the decade off how it should be. Just letting kind of like a whole resurgence of everything as opposed to just the gimmicky aspect of it. Middle part of the decade, I feel like that's when it's funny. I feel like that's when Sky Zoo actually was coming into his own with his earlier projects in the mid part of the 2000s, and then to top it off, I was a fan of his early. Like I have all his albums with Carlos Brody, and all that stuff, but I kind of took a break. But I'm going with Royce. Those three for me. Those are the three that I can say, are the top. If I'm gonna give it to one, I'm gonna give it to Kendrick.
All right, no doubt, no doubt. Porsche, what about you, miss?
I actually, funny thing, I was thinking about it in the sense that like, who would Rapper of the Decade as an award? Like if I was going to award someone Rapper of the Decade award, who would I give it to? And interestingly, the person I chose doesn't have an album on my top of the decade, which is so funny, but Benny for me. or anybody from Griselda. And the reason for that is the amount of work that these guys have put in this last decade has been unbelievable. Like, I mean, their own stuff, their solo stuff, like their group stuff, like collab albums. Like Benny has just been everywhere. He's been consistent. He's been, I mean, in every criteria, he sort of checks all the boxes. So for me, I would give it to Benny. If I had to give it to a rapper that does appear on my, like their album appears on my top list of the decade, it would be Kendrick. And I would give it to Pimp a Butterfly or Good Kid, Mad City. To me, they're neck and neck. And also, I would say The Plugs I Met would be my favorite joint that Benny put out.
Dope. You know, the funny thing about Benny to me is that even though he's only really been crazy for the past 2 years, it seems like he's been doing it for the whole decade. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I remember it was a Conway show in Tana Talk came out in 2018. I want to say December. Mm-hmm. So I was at a Benny show out here in DC. It was Conway and Benny was opening up. And it was funny because a lot of people didn't even know who Benny was. You know what I mean? And to see it go from a show in probably October 2018 to them coming back maybe 6 months later and seeing everybody know Benny and everybody knowing every line off of Tana Talk like in a 6 month span was crazy to me. You know, because you seldomly see that. You seldomly see and no disrespect to Benny, but it was like he was the opening act for Conway. You seldomly see somebody go from being an opening act to being a headliner act the very next in 6 months. And Benny essentially did that. You know, he went from being an opening act to coming back to the Howard in DC with Tana Talk and now with The Plugs I Met being on his own tour. Like you don't really see that. So I feel what you're saying because it feels like Benny's been doing it for the past.
It's not even like, it doesn't, to me personally, it doesn't matter if you're active for the entire decade because a lot of the rappers aren't. Like where has Kendrick been? Like there's been talk of an album dropping.
Touché.
There hasn't been an album dropped. You know what I mean? Like you don't, to me personally, you don't have to be active throughout the entire decade, but it matters if you can catch up to the ones that have been active throughout the decade and kind of make your mark, even if it's in 1 year, even if it's in 2 years or 2.5 years. Benny, for me, has been very, very consistent for someone whose major projects and most notable projects have only come out in the last 3 years. It's been unbelievable. The guy's always a topic of conversation. His albums are always being mentioned on lists. His verses are always being like quotables and they're being referenced. Like these guys are putting in the work. You know what I mean? So for me, that means something. Even if Plugs I Met doesn't show up on my top list or, you know, Tana Talk doesn't show up on my top list. Cause I love the Griselda guys, but to me, I've always said they're like a mood music. You need to be in a particular mood to listen to them. I can't just throw them on Sunday morning while I'm cleaning and kind of like, you know, like it's just not I just can't do it. But he's put in the work, and I think that deserves some kind of recognition for sure.
All right, Porsche. All right, I see you coming for the collection plate this week on Apartment 5B. You coming for the collection plate. For me, my top MC is Kendrick Lamar. To me, for the reasons, I mean, to drop 2 back-to-back classics, you know what I mean? Yeah. I think Good Kid, Mad City is a classic. I think The Pimp a Butterfly is a classic. I ain't mad at nobody who says Damn is a classic. I probably give it 4.5 mics, you know, but if you say Damn is a classic, to me, it's no debate. It is what it is, you know? So to have an MC who comes out with 3 albums in a row that are all classics and sound completely different. That's like the thing I love about it is that Pimp a Butterfly sounds absolutely nothing like no Good Kid, Mad City, which sounds nothing like Damn. And to be able to come out with 3 albums that sound nothing alike and they all could considerably be looked at as 5 mic classics, that's a whole nother level of talent that most folk don't have. So you got Kendrick doing it with that. And then I got to go with Eddie, what he said about Royce. I did a mixtape 4 years on 9 Mile, and it was just about the 4-year run that Royce had when he dropped his Trust the Shooter joint, the Bar Exam 4 mixtape. He had Layers, The Book of Ryan, and the 2 Prime albums. And in that span of 4 years, and it's like Portia said, it's not the whole 10-year, but in those 4 years, the work that Royce put in is bananas to me. You know what I mean? And here's the wild part too, because Preem was even talking about this. This is Royce sober. This is sober Royce.
Right.
And Preem was like, when they started working on Prime, he was like, I don't even know what this boy gonna sound like. He's sober now. You know, we saw what happened when Eminem sobered up. You know what I mean? So that's kind of big. You know what I mean? So to see Royce sober up and just take his game to the next level on, and every project to me just got better. Trust the Shooter was good, but then Barxan 4 to me was better. Then Prime 1 was better. Prime 2 wasn't better, but then like the ended with the Book of Ryan was just like the icing on the cake right there. You know what I'm saying? And an MC that a lot of people don't love. I get it. He's an acquired taste. I gotta go with Rock Marciano, man. You know what I mean? I know a lot of folk don't rock with Rock. Don't rock with Rock. But I thought I was confused for a second. But
a double entendre.
You talking about Marsburg in 2010, Reloaded, which is my favorite in 12, Merci Beaucoup in 13, Rosebud's Revenge in 17, the Bitter Dose in 18, Behold the Dark Horse in 18, Chaos with Muggs in 2018. That's 3 albums in 2018. Marcio Lago in 19. You talking 8 years and 10 years. A dude who's 9 times out of 10 producing the bulk of his own stuff. And I hear it all the time. Again, just like with Derringers, just loops. Again, I don't care what it is, as long as it's dope. I'm good money. So I gotta definitely give love to Rock Marciano. Tell me this, y'all. What is some of y'all? Yeah. And I get it. A lot of people don't like Rock. I've even heard people say Rock can't rap. I don't understand that, but to each his own. What are some of y'all favorite moments of this decade? What are some standout positive moments from the past 10 years, hip hop, music wise, whatever? Porsche, what you got?
Well, I just got to say I'm so proud of hip hop because there was a few that sort of stuck out for me. July 2017, hip hop gets recognized as the most consumed genre of music in the world, like worldwide. It surpassed rock, and that's by Forbes, which I love because for so long, I mean, we did the episode where we talked about hip hop being a phase, right? It's a young genre, but it's a phase for a lot of people, and a lot of people consider it that. So I like to see that. Kendrick Lamar won the Pulitzer Prize for Music in April of 2018, which was phenomenal and so deserving. So there's that. And I think it was for Damn, actually. And then June 2019, St. James Place between, I think, Fulton Avenue and another one in New York, in Brooklyn, was renamed Christopher Wallace Way, which, again, as Biggie's my goat. So that was just, I actually shed tears when I saw them. I mean, Valletta posted, C's posted on Instagram. I was just beside myself. I wish I could have been there. And then November 2016, Linden Boulevard gets named after Fife, which was amazing to see. And February 2019, there was an announcement that New York is granting $3.5 million to help with the building and putting together of the Hip Hop Museum. And Curtis Blow is the co-founder or co-chair, which actually like made my heart happy. And I kind of stay up to date with that as much as I can. And I think Chuck D is involved on some level. So that's so great to see. And yeah, I was so proud of hip hop. So.
All right, no doubt. Rec, what you got?
So I have, let's see, go here. My list is not so much positives. It's pretty much just things that kind of happened. One of the things that I think I liked was the fact that how hip hop came together when not Trayvon Martin, but Mike Brown was killed. You saw a lot of artists, go to Ferguson and pretty much stand up for the cause. So I definitely, felt that was needed because hip hop as a whole, the genre, gets a lot of bad press. So I think that was a good thing.
Hold on for a sec, right? Hold on for a sec. Let me ask you this, because when I remember Ferguson, I don't remember a lot of rappers. I remember J. Cole and Talib. So were there more? Because that was one of my beefs. That is everybody?
Killer Mike was there. T.I. was there.
Okay.
There was a few others. I mean, the ones that we expected to go, they went.
All right.
I don't expect to. I ain't gonna name an artist, but I don't expect certain artists to go just based on how they are and what they portray. But it felt good seeing somebody at least stand up for the cause and say, hey, look, we here, we support you, things of that nature.
All right, no doubt.
one of the things that I found funny, one of the moments I found funny was when Macklemore won his award, and he said pretty much, "Yeah, I stole your award." I felt like he knew that he did not earn that award, and that the better artist earned that award. So to see somebody actually acknowledge that, I thought was cool. Kendrick, he kind of just was like, yeah, whatever. But that takes a lot for somebody to say, you know what, you had the better album than I did, and I truly do not deserve this award. I don't really have many moments, man. The last decade for me has been like a blur, so I'm not really well versed as far as the moments, man. So excuse me on that one. Please pardon me.
It's all good. It's all good. Vern, what you got for us, good brother?
All right. I'm gonna say my pops, who ain't the biggest hip hop fan, he loved Houdini's back. I mean, I'm a whole album, but anyway, he used to bump that. But anyway, he called me. He was like, "Your boy is gonna be on Saturday Night Live." When Tribe Called Quest performed on Saturday Night Live, that was big. I'm gonna say two more. The Art of Organized Noise.
The documentary
coming out so that people could really give them their due and understand what they mean to hip hop in Atlanta and the South. And then thirdly, to piggyback off of that, Big Boy buying the original Dungeon.
Yes, that was awesome.
Oh, the actual home,
the house.
Yeah, that was dope.
Yeah, that's dope.
What are they gonna do with it? Did he say?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything since he did it. That's something I'm gonna check on because I thought about it after I wrote it down. What are they doing?
Okay.
All right, that's dope. That's dope. Eddie, what you got?
All right, I got a few. The first three are kind of in the same vein. So the Tribe Reunion album, that was a big one for me. Especially, they got Phife before he passed. Obviously, they had to rework it a little bit, after he passed and stuff like that. But, came out pretty dope. Little Brother Reunion album. Another thing I didn't think I would see, and how they kept it under wraps and kind of surprised us with it. The new Gangstar album. So that was dope. I got the Black Thought Funk Master Flex freestyle. Yeah, that was a big moment. I feel like that got everyone to kind of step up their lyricism, and then you see everyone wanted to get on Funk Master Flex to do their own thing. But yeah, he shut it down with that one. I got
you know what, Eddie, the funny thing is to me, I almost felt like people stopped coming up on Flex as much after that. You know what I mean? Now keep in mind, I don't keep up with all that hoopla, but I felt like I saw more freestyles on Flex before Black Thought. Because I won't hold you. If you want to come on after that, my nigga, you got balls. Like because you're gonna, but I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying that for me, I thought more people went before than after. If you coming after Thor, you better be. I feel like he set a bar. Like if you don't do at least 10 minutes, you might as well not even come. But but shit, that's definitely a dope moment.
Yeah. I got the Wu-Tang series on Netflix, and the fact that it was actually pretty dope. Will we get a second season? I guess that remains to be seen. But I like that it was well done. I mean, from the beginning, it was kind of like, but it wound up being good. Wu-Tang getting their own street in Staten Island, kind of like the whole Linden Boulevard thing with Tribe. And then this one is more general, but I think the rise of the independent artist and kind of taking it back, taking back the industry and the business, and all right, it seems a little weird when you got like a Rock Marciano selling an album for $100 or $300 or whatnot, but you know what? People were buying it, and it was creating a demand. And you know what? He was doing what he had to do, and a lot of people were following that. So that's another thing I give Rock Marciano credit for. He created a blueprint that a lot of these other independent artists started to follow.
All right, no doubt. Yeah, what about you?
I don't have too many moments, but I will say the one thing about this decade that I've actually loved is that older rappers are still able to flourish. Like, back in the 90s, early 2000s, it was like, oh, yo, if I turn 30, but all these rappers that have been coming out, like as far as have had either a mainstay or coming or getting their just due, all in their 30s. Conway and Benny in their 30s. West is in his 30s. Royce is still putting albums out at age 40. Styles P is putting out a lot of work age 40. Even, and this is gonna sound crazy, but even like for 2 Chainz, I know people don't really like 2 Chainz, but for 2 Chainz to get his career start, like his real big break at age 37, that says something about the genre itself, and that like how, because I always say this is still a very young genre of music, and it's just really exciting to see that like we're able to grow and there's no stigma on rappers being too old to rap. As long as you have the skill. I remember I had a conversation with my homie a couple years ago, and I was concerned about being 34 and still rapping. He was like, yo, like if you played clarinet, would anybody ask you to, and you were 34, would anybody ask you to stop playing clarinet because you were older? No, but it's still your skill set. I'm just really happy that like being old or older or being middle-aged hip hop has kind of like been able to flourish in this decade. So that's my main thing about what I've taken from the decade as far as my moment. So
tell me this, Shao, because that's a good point. I always thought that we had, at least for me, in the 90s, in the 80s, better hip hop because you had to keep your sword sharp because you were constantly in ciphers with people. You know, you go on in the 90s at Morgan from 92 to 96, you know, you're talking about Black Thought, Common, Mos Def. These people, Pharoahe Monch, being on tour together. So you're freestyling every night. Y'all are on the stage. Y'all, you know, as much love as it is, there's always going to be competition. You know, so when you're around those type of artists, you have to keep your sword sharp. In the 80s, you can't be in the studio with Kane, G-Rap, and Ace and not come with your A game and, you know, not want to bring it. For you, how do you stay sharp? I mean, I'm assuming there ain't a lot of ciphers in New York. I'm assuming you don't get off work and then you go stand on some corner in Brooklyn somewhere. You get on the A train and just battle people who get on the train. So how is it that a 35 plus artist stays sharp, you know, like that?
It really it's just listening to like even listening to the young cats. Like when I listen to young cats who rap. They, you know, they don't. A lot of young kids I hang out with, they do both. They do like the trap rap kind of, you know, like. But a lot of them grew up in the same and grew up under, you know, the same age I grew up under. Like they listen to Big. They listen to Big L. They listen to Pusha. They listen to these guys coming up. So I mean, staying with them is also coming sharp. But also, like I said, listening to some of the young cats that actually are feeling that vein, like listening to Don Q freestyles and some of these young cats that come up to Hot 87 and really be putting it in with the bars, like that's allowed me to make sure that I keep myself sharp. You know what I mean? And like I said, a lot of the dudes that I'm around in the studio, a lot of dudes I make music with, they're not like mumble rappers. You know what I mean? So I've been being around them has kept me sharp. Being around a lot of my friends too, like. I've always felt like my closest friends always held me to a standard, you know what I mean, as far as rapping. Like even when we were in college, like, yo, you got to deliver the bars. And I still, no pun intended, not to go off what Skyzoo said, I still make music for my friends, you know what I mean? That's why I still try to keep myself sharp. And I still listen to a lot of old shit, you know what I mean? I still go back. I still listen to Elzhi. I still listen to Pharoahe Monch. I still listen to those guys from my era because those guys were so sharp that there's no expiration on good music, you know what I mean, at all, particularly bars. So like that's just always going to be a mainstay. And even if you look at like as far left as the game has gone, as far as like rapping and how people like to mumble, like the legends of that era and the best dudes of that era are rappers. Like J. Cole's a rapper, Kendrick is a rapper. I don't want to mention Drake's name and have. Here, but Drake raps. These guys know how to rap, and they hold themselves to a higher standard bar-wise. So I think that's the reason why I've been able to keep myself sharp and stay in that lane and without like veering off too much. I go here every now and then, left or right, to try to like, so to speak, keep up with, you know, the today's sound. But I never veer off of what I know and what I came up under.
All right, no doubt. That's dope. Drake. All right.
Let's do it.
Yo, I forgot, Porsche. Who was it? Somebody on the timeline said something. They was like, yo, You know, that's incredible that the person. I gotta find a tweet because I don't want to misquote it, but I think I had the perfect comeback for it. I will find it.
Oh,
My
it was
moment.
like, yeah. That was a good tweet.
Yeah, I'm gonna find that. My moments to me, the entire Griselda movement, you know, was huge to me because you're talking about people who. One of my favorite lines from Conway when he says, "We the hardest niggas out, and we ain't even from a borough." You know what I mean? Like these dudes brought back New York rap. You know what I mean? And brought it back in a way that you've got Eminem signing them to Shady, and then you've also got Jay signing them to Rock Nation. You know what I mean? And they're doing it their way. You know, it was funny because my wife has me watching Love and Hip Hop. It's like I can't stand it, but to spend time with her, we watch Love and Hip Hop New York. And I can only I'm dead ass, Bird. I'm dead ass. And she blames me because I won't holler. Love and Hip Hop New York when it first started, however many years ago, I did watch it, but then throughout the years, I was like, yo, this is trash. She's like, yo, your man Joe is back, yo, Chrissy and Jim is back. So I'm like, all right, but we were talking about Papoose, and I was like, yo, you know, this dude was actually supposed to be the one who brought New York rap back. There was a time where Papoose and Saigon were the two MCs that were supposed to bring New York back, and neither one of them did. So to see Griselda do what they're doing, and I haven't probably seen a movement like this since Wu-Tang. And what I mean by that is that they put Buffalo on the map. Like I actually tweeted the other day, like if you are from upstate New York, niggas are already giving you the GOAT title. Like just say you from Niagara Falls, from Buffalo, anywhere, Syracuse, it don't even matter. Right. But it's funny, you know, and I think Vern or somebody sent me the tweet like, yo, you know, out of the blue, your family's from Shaolin. Like, yo, before Wu ain't nobody want to admit that they was from Staten Island. Like you be like, nah, I'm from Staten, but I live with my cousin in Brooklyn, or you know, same thing with Queensbridge. I knew mad niggas out of Hempstead and Corona talking about, yo, Queensbridge, yo, my grandmother, you know, my aunt on my father's niece's side live in Queensbridge. So you got so many people co-signing Buffalo because of this movement and want to be from Buffalo because of this movement. I mean, like I said, the Shady, the Rock Nation joints. I mean, Benny basically had, to me, my top album in 2018 and 2019. And 2019 was a hard-ass year. I mean, you talking Metropolitan, you talking Bandana, you talking some heavy hitters. Yes. And basically, Benny's EP stayed in rotation for me more than anything. So yeah, I just love that whole movement. Another great part to me was the Outkast reunion tour back in 2014.
How can I forget that?
Being able to see them too, and even though I didn't get a chance to go to the show, just to see the videos or whatever, just knowing that Big and Dre were back on stage together performing was huge for me. Meek getting out of jail the first time in 2014 was a good thing, you know. Meek getting out of jail the second time in 2018 was a good thing. So Meek getting out of jail. The Meek
so
get
nice
out of jail.
He had to do it twice.
Yeah,
right?
You know, I love Meek getting out of jail. It's just something about when Philly niggas come home from jail twice. And then just like Portia said, the Kendrick joint for Damn, you know, he's the first artist outside of the jazz genre to win this award, which is huge to me. So those are some of my favorite moments. Some of the down moments, you know, we lost a lot of MCs over this decade, shouting some of them out. Everybody, for all the young folk out there, I'm only shouting out MCs I know. Okay, so if little Boo Boo got killed, I apologize. That I'm not
little
shouting
boo-boo.
out
little left-hander.
I apologize right now. Don't add me. I apologize. I'm just shouting out rappers I know: Mac Miller, Nipsey, Prodigy, Guru, Nate Dogg, Phife, Heavy D, MCA from the Beastie Boys, Bushwick Bill, Sean Price, Chris Lighty, Chris Kelly from Criss Cross, DJ Easy Rock, Craig Mack, R.I.P. A lot of heavy hitters I just named, man.
Combat Jack.
Yeah, Combat Jack. How can I forget, you know, the podcast godfather, the hip-hop podcast godfather, Combat Jack. So we lost a lot of heavy hitters. For me, Nipsey hurt the most, you know what I mean? For so many reasons, but mainly for more than what he did for hip-hop, what he was doing outside of hip-hop. So let's get to what everybody else is doing on their shows. Your top 5 albums of the decade. Porsche, what you got for your top 5 albums of the decade?
Okay, I've got Sir Lucius Left Foot, which you guys already named as a Slept On Joint. I've got Good Kid, Mad City, and To Pimp a Butterfly, because those ones are undeniable. Catalactica by Crit. I love that album. I mean, I got more than 5. May the Lord Watch. I've got Retropolitan. I got the Gangstar Joint. Those are mine. I mean, I could go on, and I could probably name you another 10. But yeah, that's good for now.
All right, no doubt. Rec, what you got?
Good Kid, Mad City, Book of Ryan, In Celebration of Us, Skyzoo's joint. The Sean P joint After He Passed. What was that joint called?
Don't get me the line. The one after he passed.
Yeah, it was after he passed. They did the joint and be Imperious Rex. And I'm going with Black Milk's 365.
All right, no doubt. Vern, what about you?
Black Radio, Robert Glasper, all-star lineup, ridiculous stuff. And I use your criteria, Kill. What do I listen to the most? So definitely that one is one. We Are King by the group King is the trio. Now it's a duo. Album is ridiculous. Choose Your Weapon by Hiatus Coyote. Man, listen, y'all go listen to this song called Shaolin Mother Funk. Listen to the beat flips in it for y'all hip hoppers and producers. It's
that's the joint you put me on.
Yeah. And Breathing Underwater is how I really got onto them. May the Lord Watch, Little Brother. And I got to end it with my baby, Layla Hathaway Live, man. My wife know how I feel about her.
That's your hall pass,
man. That's the one. We met her at an in-store, and I went up to her with my wife. I was like, "I love you, and I love your music, Drew." We were at the front row, man, doing her concert, and she did "I'm Coming Back," and there's a part on that song when, like, she said, "I can feel you in the air that I breathe," and she hit like a crescendo. Me and my wife looked at each other, and it's like we was in a spiritual church moment or something, and it was crazy. So those are my 5. Black Radio, We Are King, Choose Your Weapon by Hiatus Coyote, May the Lord Watch, Little Brother, and Layla Hathaway Live.
All right, no doubt. Ed, what you got?
All right, I got the 2 Kendrick albums. I can't really separate them. To Pimp a Butterfly and Good Kid, Mad City. I got Royce, Book of Ryan. I got Retropolitan. I got Nas, Life is Good. I got Pharoah Monch, We Are Renegades, War. I got Fonte, No News is Good News, and Charity Starts at Home. Shit, I could throw in the Madlib and Freddie Gibbs albums, Pinata and Bandana. So that's what I'm going with.
All right, and yeah, what you got?
I'm gonna go Good Kid, Mad City. And forgive me because last year I had it as an honorable mention, but as I listened to it more this year, I realized that it's one of my favorite albums of all time. Tana Talk 3 really is one of my favorite albums of all time. I didn't realize it because I heard it late. I think it came out in November, and a month or two I was like, this shit's set. But I literally banged that and The Plug probably for like the first 6 months of the year this year. So I'm gonna go Tana Talk 3. I'm gonna go Life is Good for Nas. I thought that was the resurgence. I think it was his last great project. I was so proud of Nas for making that album. You know what I mean? I really was, bro. Because look, I mean, I've always been a Nas fan, and you always feel like I'm always like going to bat for him, and nobody really understands. Because I thought he put out a couple projects before that were pretty good, but they weren't as well received. Life is Good, one of my favorite albums as well. Forest Hills from J. Cole. I know people feel about J. Cole.
No, that was a dope project.
Mm-hmm.
I love that album, dog. I absolutely
a dope project.
From top to bottom. I really enjoyed the production, the lyrics. I know people say he's boring, but I guess you got to be in the mood. But I definitely fuck with Forest Hills. And another album I didn't realize that I listened to so much was Ross's album Rather You Than Me. The production is top notch. Santorini Grease is on there. Joint where he's talking about Baby is on there.
Yes, sir.
The joint Raphael Sadiq, Apple of My Eye, is a fun. I mean, the intro, the first song of the album, just I don't know that is almost like the hook is like almost a testament, like a soundtrack to my life. I try to live my life, just smile through everything and just like whatever's going on, just try to smile through it and push through. So I love Rather You Than Me. I think I mentioned my 5, but those are my 5 right there. Good Kid, Mad City, Rather You Than Me, Life is Good, Tana Talk 3, and Forest Hills.
All right, let me ask y'all this, because you brought up Ross, and a lot of people's knock on Ross is that he basically makes the same album every time. You know what I mean?
Well,
you know, which is fine, which is fine to some folk. But then you have some people who are like I said, I love Kendrick because he doesn't make the same album every time. You know, and again, this is not a diss on Ross because I could say the same for Gangstar. I could say that you could take a song from Hard to Earn and put it on Daily Operation and take a song from Moment of Truth and put it. You can move them wherever, whereas you can't do that with Kendrick.
Right.
Does that matter to you all? Does that matter that Ross makes the same album every single time? You know, either or.
I mean,
so yes and no.
Hold on for a second. Let me get Vern because Vern.
So I mean, does Pusha talk about anything differently? Griselda.
And again, I wasn't.
I know not you. I'm not you. I'm kind of answering the question. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Griselda and them, they don't talk about helping old ladies across the street. You know.
That would be funny.
I mean, I think sometimes, man, we get too technical. If it's good music and good lyrics, roll with it. You know, that would be my answer to it. Now, I mean, Ross is historic for picking the dopest beats, and he ain't whack on the lyrics. So, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right. What are you gonna say? Yeah.
I was gonna say something similar. Basically, my thing is like, I know people always want to try to go out of the box. Sometimes going out of the box doesn't work. Like, if you know your lane and you know what you're good at, stay in that and just try to improve and try to make the best music you can in that same lane. And I've always respected Ross for that. Like, yeah, Ross is like this glamorous, drug dealing, you know, persona that he has. Because, you know, I don't think we all know that Ross hasn't really. Let me not even say that because I don't know what Ross did, but speculation he never really sold.
Well, I know he was a CEO when he said he wasn't a CEO, but he was.
That we do know. That's on record. But what I also know is that the music he's put out, with the exception of a couple of albums that came out, I want to say between like 2013 and 2015 or 16. Other than that, Ross has always been very consistent. Like Vern said, the production he picks, he knows how to pick production and he knows how to make songs. And particularly on this last album, and I know people think it sounds the same, but I don't think that Rather You Than Me sounds like anything else he put out. Just based on production. Like, yes, the content of what he's saying might be similar, but like I just said, even if that's the case, just improve on that. I can't tell Pusha to make songs about females because even though he can, they don't resonate as well as the ones when he talks about dealing cocaine. So, like I said, just you find your lane, stay in it, and just try to improve. Try to make the best music you can in that same lane. I think Ross has done that.
All right, no doubt. For me, my top 5 albums of the year, I'm gonna go with. I know as Black folk, we were supposed to cut them off. I'm not. I really don't do the whole unify with whatever Black folks say. So I'm going with my beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy by Ye. You know what I mean? From 2010. Rec, you laughing, but niggas are acting like Kanye didn't exist because now he fucks with Trump.
Hey, look, man, Kanye did me, man. When he fell off the horse last week, hey,
he fell off a horse.
Bro. Yeah, I'll see the link.
Funniest shit I've ever seen.
I don't know what you're talking about.
He rode a hearse
into the church.
Through church, and he fell
with
off.
No saddle and fell straight off that motherfucker.
He rode a horse into the church.
High horse. But
hilarious.
All right. I know nobody. We're not supposed to like Kanye, so I'm just go against Black folk. My beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy was crazy to me. Good Kid, Mad City. My Name Is My Name. Pusha's joint. You know, I still bang that to this day. Love it. Prime, the Royce and Primo joint. 5 Mics to me. I thought it was dope. 9 songs. Get in, get out. I thought Primo sampling. What is the guy's name?
Adam
Nah. You said Adam Yauch.
Adam Young, something like that.
Oh,
Adrian.
Forgive me.
I said this nigga sampling the Beastie Boys. Like, yo, I know I'm bugging, but I ain't know. Come on, all right.
My bad.
Right, Adrian Young. That was crazy. And then the Pimp a Butterfly. Runner up, I got Born Sinner, J. Cole. That's actually what made me like J. Cole. I didn't really mess. I thought he was cool, but J. Cole to me prior to that was always, who's that nigga? And I say, who's that nigga, meaning like he would be on all these like R&B stuff, and I'd always be like, yo, dude is dope, but who's that nigga? You know, like, so he never really stood out for me, but Born Sinner did that for me. Daytona with Push, Tana Talk with Benny, and Victory Lap with Nipsey would end me out with my 5 joints. Here's the thing, y'all. I found that tweet, Porsche. Basically, we was talking about, I was saying, I posted something about, and this will just segue into the shit Kill started on Twitter this week. I had posted the thing with Will Smith being on Sway with Martin and asking could he still do Brand New Funk. So he spit Brand New Funk. I tweeted out, you know, if you don't think Will Smith is an MC, like, do your homework. Like, I get it. He's corny. I get it. Like, after the second Jazzy Jeff Fresh Prince album, I wasn't even looking for Will Smith. I'm talking about the times between Rock the House and he's the DJ, I'm the rapper. And even prior to that, when he used to go, him and Jeff used to go to New York and tear down the Latin Quarters. So my man, what is this? At Easy Money ST, social media is Satan, was basically like, you know, well, if you think Will is a legend and he had ghostwriters, then what about Drake? And I said, well, you got to understand with me, I'm saying Will was a legend between a certain time period when, from what I know, he was writing his music. You know what I'm saying? And I've always said, I thought Drake, it was a dope rapper up until I found out he had ghostwriters. So do I think on the first mixtape, I forgot the name of it, that he had ghostwriters? Probably not. So he was doing his own thing. So then he tweeted me, and the Porsche, because Porsche, you was in this. Because a lot of times, this whole week, me and you been in a lot of shit together.
Every time Aubrey's fucking name comes up, I get dragged into it. He's such a cornball, and I need to point it out. Everybody's out here. He's a legend. He's a phenomenal rapper. But he's got shit. He's got.
Yo, but hold tight, Porsche. I ain't be this. But here's the thing.
Hold him back.
This is what the dude said. He said, so imagine being the top dog in rap for a decade straight and not being a legend. Gotta learn to be subjective, guys. And my reply was, imagine being a top dog in rap for a decade straight and not writing your own fucking rhymes. There you go. To me, that is a mic drop right there. You can't be a legend if you don't write your own rhymes. Yeah, I know you disagree. I see you staring away into the skies in the distance over there.
I'm watching the next one tonight. I'm watching the highlights. I'm really happy.
Okay. Hey, if the next one, then please stare off into the limelight with that one. Right there. So
let me just enjoy that real quick. But yeah,
right. I feel you. So that was my response. Yeah. So I said it's like a 30-30 ep. And then somebody, I forgot who it was. I love giving props, but I get so much Twitter I can't keep up. Somebody said Drake is a Canadian actor who plays a rapper, and I thought that just was the mic drop of the year.
The mic drop part was when he said, "Imagine thinking a Canadian actor who plays a rapper is a legend," and then the whole thing was just hilarious.
Right. Now, keep in mind, again, I like Drake. Me and Porsche agree to a certain extent. I like Drake. I think he's a great entertainer. I think Drake is dope. I know Porsche can't stand him. But I just don't give you that. Once I find, and that's for everybody. When I found out that Ye, I always tell the story. Down and Out was always my go-to Kanye joint. You know, when people be like, who's better, Kanye or Just? I'd be like, Cameron Down and Out. You better know. And when I found out that he did not do Cameron's Down and Out, that puts an asterisk by your name. Because, like y'all said, you didn't have the booklets now, but back then it was like, yo, this beat was crazy. So for Ye to say himself that he did not do the beat and one of his young producers did the beat, that now puts an asterisk on your name because I don't know. And this is young Ye. This ain't even like my Dark Twisted Fantasy Ye. This is Down and Out. You still doing Rockefeller stuff. So all that's telling me is you've got young producers behind you. Same thing with Dre. And when I do a Best of Dre, I stopped with Doggy Style because after that, that's when we got Melman and Scott Storch and all of that. So this isn't any Drake slander or any Drake hate. It's just once I find out you don't do what you say you do, there's an asterisk by your name for me. You know what I mean? So that is the shit that Kill has started on Twitter this week, along with some sideline nigga who out here lying. Porsche, you know what I'm talking about? Some nigga like
he blocked me after that fiasco. He blocked me, I think, or unfollowed me or something. So I don't know.
Some dude basically was like, what's her name? Sure Noir is the dopest female MC ever, or something like that. And I was like, bro, like ever. And then he was like, oh, you hate and something. Y'all know if you start that hating shit, I'm blocking you. But then somebody, he was talking to some other dude I know and was like, yeah, Kill blocked me just because I said Shay Noir. I forgot what it was, but it wasn't what happened. And
it was yeah, he was talking to somebody else and he says,
right.
Yeah, Kill blocked me because I told him, hey, check out this MC. And that's all I said. And Kill blocked me, and I said,
right.
That's not what happened. Right. I saw that. Usually I scroll past. I don't like to get into this kind of stuff. I know people think I like drama. I don't. I do not like CL drama. So usually I scroll past, and then I was like, that is not what. And even the dude he was talking to, I think David, was like, that doesn't sound like Kill. Yeah. Anyways, I went and found the tweet and I was like, that's not what you said. You said he was hating. And anybody who knows Kill knows that he'll block you for that. So
because I couldn't find the tweet. I could not find it. I was looking for, I was like, let me go check these receipts. I wanted to
I'll send them to you.
Okay. But the wild part was just like, my thing is, dog, if you want to talk about me, be like, yo, fuck that nigga Kill. He blocked me. But don't come back now trying to be like, oh, he blocked me just because I told him to check out a new MC and he blocked me. Like, don't do that. Don't
Stand
do
by
that.
your words.
There you go. There you go. Like I said, if you want to say anything, be like, yo, I don't like that nigga Kill. Fuck him. He blocked me. Whatever.
And that's the main
stuff.
reason why there's no edit button on Twitter. I got a friend that works at Twitter and I asked him, so what's about the edit button? He's like, we don't want edit buttons because we want you to stay to your word. Like president, politicians, we're not letting you change none of that. When you say it,
right.
You hit send that shit.
That's dope. That's dope.
Like, and that makes a lot of sense. You know, I hate making mistakes on Twitter. I hate mistakes all the time. But
give you an edit button with a 2-character maximum so that you can fix typos. That's all I've been saying.
That's all I want.
Tweeting Twitter, but they won't write. They won't listen to me. So
because I keep letting Miss Hines down, man. That's my 7th grade English teacher. And, and the ones that go viral are always the ones with the typos.
For sure.
Right. It's crazy. Yeah. One of the dopest indie MCs I know in the game, y'all. Yao G.
Yes.
Very dope discography. Yao, tell me a little bit about your decade, man.
Yo, so wow. I've dropped 3 albums in this decade. No, I'm sorry, I'm lying. No, I have 3. So in 2010, I put out my first. I had been doing freestyles for centuries, but I put my first full-length project in 2010. It was called Entry Level. It's got a joint in there called 9 to 5. The video was on YouTube and all that. It was my first. It was like, obviously Entry Level, my entry into this rap space that I was trying to get into. I thought it was a dope project. Took a couple years off because money, trying to put out projects in that era was tough, and I got laid off. And 2014, I actually put an album out called Hump Day. That was an album just about the relationship between male and female. I believe right before I put that album out, maybe after is when I met Kill. That's how we started getting dialogue and started, vibing on, just music and just life and shit like that. Through all that, I also had like a spoken word series with ESPN called The Journey, which it did really well. It used to air before Sunday NFL games in 2012 and in 2014. And then this past year, I put out another album, which I think is my magnum opus thus far, so to speak. It's called You're All Welcome. Well received. Kill provided some production on there. Rec provided some production on there. I was just in a really good space, ready to make music. I probably recorded like 40 songs over the process. We ended up choosing 9 rather, and it was well received. So I've actually. I was saying last year was a really good year for me, but I've actually had a pretty decent decade. Just with the work I've put out and things I've done, I can't really complain too much. Aside from that, just another project with ESPN, The Undefeated, coming up soon for Black History Month. So be on the lookout for that. There'll be 4 different poems/rap pieces that I'm putting out for Black History Month through ESPN. So, like I said, man, like I've had a pretty good decade. I really have no complaints. The music game is a difficult thing to be in, but I feel like as long as you stay true to yourself and just be confident in what you're putting out, everything else take shape and take place. So,
all right, no doubt. Where can I get all your stuff at?
Everything is on. Well, actually, I'm lying. Entry Level is not on. Entry Level is on that pick. That was a mixtape, and I really can't get the clearances to put it on all the other digital platforms. But Hump Day is on all digital platforms: Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music, Amazon, Google Play. You're All Welcome is also on all the streaming sites, including Bandcamp too. If you wanted to go to the Bandcamp site, which is yowmusic.bandcamp.com, if you want to make a donation, which I'm always accepting, always. And all my other poetry pieces and things I've done for Yahoo, Bleacher Report, ESPN, all that's on YouTube. You can go check that out. Yeah, and we're just looking forward to just making some more stuff, some more poignant stuff, some more thought-provoking music in the future. I got some joints coming up. Rec sent me some beats. Kill. I'm still waiting on the beat you're supposed to send me the other day.
I got you.
Okay. And yeah, we're just gonna keep working. Just trying to keep my pen sharp, as they say. You know what I mean? So that's what's going on.
And don't forget about that voiceover work too, because that guy
yeah. Voiceover work. I did. I forgot about that. Damn. So I did a couple pieces for. I did a couple pieces for Bleacher Report. I did a piece on God Sham God. I did a piece on Jelly Fam, and I actually just did an interview. They're doing a documentary on the group Lost Boys and their first album, Legal Drug Money, and it actually had me come in and interview for just to talk about some of the raps on there and like Mr. Cheek's pen game, because like they feel like it was slept on. So I actually got that comes out either this year or next year. So be on the lookout for that as well.
All right, and give them all the stuff. Where can I get at you?
Yeah, music on IG, Yao Music on Twitter. Just you can search Yao G's on all the streaming sites, and I'll pull up whatever songs I've done with people. I've got a couple records I've done with people and all my albums. So go check that out. Please, run up the streams, download, buy, whatever you got to share with your friends. That's the only way these things keep moving. So I appreciate all the love and support I've gotten from particularly this group of people on this Apartment 5B. You guys have always shown me the most love. So I appreciate everything that everybody's done for me. So we're going to keep it rolling.
All right, no doubt. Porsche, give them everything, miss.
Sorry, I was looking for that tweet earlier, and because I think the dude has blocked me, I can't find it anymore. So anyways, share Shayla Porsche on Twitter. Again, my Twitter is so boring these days. So
is it really?
It is.
It is. Okay. DJ Rec One, give him everything, good brother.
Twitter is at DJ Rec One. I'm starting a new mixtape series. The mix will be up tonight. So just check the links when Kill posts it. Just tap on that and you'll catch it.
All right, Vern, the closer. If you are looking for a house in ATL, Georgia, anywhere around that area, you got to come see my man Vern. Fact. Give him all the info, good brother.
Before I do that, I want to go on record, put everybody on notice so that she can't hide. Our dear Porsche is supposed to start making beats this year.
Yes.
To get the equipment.
Yes.
So I don't want to hear that. I'm gonna be like Tupac behind the locker.
Listen, I have not commented on Cassidy and his beats because that's gonna be me.
We can get you one of these, Porsche.
Everyone has been telling me
right here.
Chill will not let me do that. And I'm like, I sure hope Chill doesn't let me do that.
You got two dudes on the side of you that'll make sure you won't come out like that.
There you go. You
get you that. Cassidy 2.0 is going to be.
Oh no, we're not doing that. We're not going to
get you one of these. Either one of them two.
Yeah.
Get you right.
We'll see how it goes.
So that's the first request. Second request, dear Twitter, can you please this year let the hyperbole go? And what I mean by that is, you'll start off with something I agree with. Fill in the Blank has a very dope album. He's one of the dope. He's a very dope MC. And then the second part of it. He's better than everybody that's ever created music. I'm like, man, can we just say, man, I really like that. Hey y'all, favorite ain't best. All right, that's my rant. Ties it off for coming up. Yeah.
There you go.
On Twitter at what is it, V Chandler 10, and on Instagram, V the Loan Closer.
Yes. Eddie, give him everything, good brother.
All right, on Twitter at EddieD80. And I never share my Instagram, but why not? It's Eddie Got Soul on Instagram.
All right, and that's SOLE, right?
SOLE, yeah.
All right. And you already know what it is with me. Kill889, Twitter, IG. We'll make beefsforfood.com. I will check y'all next week, man. It's gonna be a dope show next week too. But great decade. Real quick, just if you had to throw a year out there, I think 2019 may have been the best year. 2019-18. What about you, Porsche?
Yeah, I would agree. I would say 2010 was really good too. I will say, and I want to be on record saying this, 2016 was the worst year. So I know that much. So
all right, what about you, Rec?
I'm gonna say 2017, maybe 2018, as far as best year.
All right. Vern?
19. I'm a prisoner of the moment.
All right. Eddie?
Yeah, I think the past 2 years between 2019 and 2018 for sure.
Yeah. What about you?
I'm gonna go to 2014 was a really good year for me. I'm gonna go 14 and I'm gonna go 19.
Give me something that dropped in 14. You remember?
My name dropped in 14.
All right, my name is my name. All right, no doubt. All right, y'all. I will catch y'all next week. Appreciate the hell out of y'all.
Likewise.
Easy.
Peace.
Another